Greetings of peace and love, everybody. My name is Ram Hotep, broadcasting on behalf of 13scienceastrology.com. Thank you for listening and watching. On this particular segment, I'm going to talk about sovereignty. Now, I get a lot of inquiries about sovereignty, a lot of emails. People want me to do videos about sovereignty. And I just never get around to it. But now is a really good time. I was researching a lot of things that's going on in the world stage and on the world stage, and I'm looking at how the world currency is getting ready to be introduced. The American dollar and all of these different currencies that we have are getting ready to be no more, and the world currency is getting ready to be introduced. So that's why it's important now more than ever that people totally understand exactly what it means to be sovereign. Now, you have a lot of people out here that are calling themselves sovereign and using these names, and with that, it has created a lot of misinformation. It's created a movement of people that feel like sovereignty is something that you apply for, like food stamps. Sovereignty is not something that you apply for. Sovereignty is not something that you just fill out a bunch of paperwork documents and send it off to some entity and you get money back. See, that's what people, they fail to realize, that if you really want to get into sovereignty and you really want to understand sovereignty, you must understand business. And that's the thing. People don't understand business. See, before I got into teaching and got into spirituality, I went to school for business. I went to school for marketing. And though me going to school for marketing didn't teach me anything, it just made me a really good slave and servant because they taught me how to run businesses. But I was the type of person where I was always a decoder, so I knew how to look into things. And I looked into business, and I researched business. And what I found out, and this is what I want to offer you guys because it ties directly into sovereignty, I found out that there are only three businesses. There are only three types of businesses. And I'm not talking about non-profits, for-profits, S-corps, and C-corps. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying there are only three businesses. All other businesses fall up under these businesses. I don't care what they are. And those businesses are insurance companies, banks, and government. I know you're like, hold on, Ram Hotep. Did you just say government? I mean, I could get with insurance companies and banks, but you said government's not a business. That's a government. It's not a business. That's where you don't understand. That's why I'm saying, like, people don't understand not only law, but they don't even understand the way things work. Terms, words. You need to get you a good Black's Law dictionary, people that are watching this video, so that you can really understand business and how and like why I just named those three entities as the main businesses. There are no other businesses. Banks give people loans to start businesses. So that's why banks are important. Insurance companies. This is your insurance. Insurance companies ensure that the business's assets are protected. So you need that. And then you need government, which is a business. And government governs businesses. But what people fail to realize is that governments nowadays are corporations. That's right. Governments are corporations. They're businesses. That's all they are. So when you start talking about a nation, you start talking about government, and I did a video talking about this, but people just really don't seem to get it. You are talking about a business structure. When you look at America, when you look at England, these are corporations. Yeah, they have flags. You say, well, they have a flag? They're a nation. They have a constitution. Just like I always point out, you have a constitution. I mean, businesses have constitutions. You know what I'm saying? You have the Articles of Incorporation. So the Articles of Incorporation are similar to the United States Constitution. You have a president in business, just like you have a president of the United States. And what people fail to realize is that when you start talking about sovereignty, you are talking about pretty much tracing yourself back to something non-business. So when you start filling out paperwork, UCC papers, and people filling out all these papers to try to get money back, because this is something I definitely want to talk about. And people go out here and they fill out these papers, and they're like, I'm gonna get this money back. That's not how it works. You're looking for a handout. You're looking for a handout, and that has nothing to do with being sovereign. even being sovereign. Because if you look up what a sovereign is similar to a queen or a king, a ruler, self-sustaining. Sovereign means you're a self-sustaining entity. So if you're a self-sustaining entity, why are you asking for privileges and asking for things and filling out UCC documents and UCC1 forms and stuff and sending them off trying to get money? And you call that sovereignty? That's not sovereignty. See, people are looking for a handout. That's not sovereignty. Sovereignty goes back to business. That's why I named those three things. So you really can't be sovereign until you have a government. That's the first thing you need. Because remember, I told you basically, essentially what. First, I named you the three businesses and what they were. And you remember one of the three businesses was government. A government is a business. And in order for you to, I guess you could say, to run and to be a part of to be a sovereign, you need to have a government. You need to be a part of a government. So what I'm saying is that you calling yourself sovereign and filling out paperwork and waiting in lines in another corporation's lines, keep in mind, you're waiting in the United States corporation's lines. The United States of America is a corporation. It was incorporated. It used to be called the DC Corporation. The DC Corporation. And it's the United States Corporation. And it's a corporation. That's what it is. It's a business. So when you start talking about filling out contracts and filling out applications and all of that stuff, it's like you're applying for a private corporation. That's why you have to apply. When you get you a Black's Law Dictionary and you look up the term apply, you apply for a private entity. You don't have to apply for something unless you're not a part of it. That's the only time you have to apply. So when you apply for school, when you apply for a loan, you're applying for something within. You're trying to get privileges within. And this is business. That's what people fail to realize. This is business. When you fill out an application, you're trying to get privileges. You're trying to get monies released to you. This is business. So it doesn't matter what you're applying for because, like I said, banks control all businesses. Why? Because they give all businesses loans. That at the end of the day, it comes down to the loans. So there are no other businesses. You start saying like you want to open up a shoe store or something like that, or you want to open up, say for instance, you want to open up a restaurant or something like that. 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to go get a loan, which means that the person that gives you the loan controls you, which means that you're under that particular entity that gave you the loan. So you are not sovereign because you're applying for things. So that's what I'm trying to get people to see is like, the first step, I'm going to do a lot of videos about sovereignty. You know what I'm saying? I've been studying this for over 10 years, and it's something that I don't even talk about, actually. Well, I'm sorry. I really haven't been studying sovereignty for over 10 years, but I've been studying the basics and principles of it for over 10 years. But, like, really getting into it, I've been studying sovereignty for about 5 years. And it's not something that you just, like, it's not something you just get handed to you. They don't just hand you, like, you fill out an application and you just get handed some money. It's about, being sovereign is about being self-sustaining, being able to work with your talents. It's being able to work with the talents that the universe gave you and being able to turn that into something. Being sovereign, like I said, makes you into a king or a queen, a ruler. You have to have land in order to be sovereign. See, a lot of these people running around calling themselves sovereign and they don't even have a place to stay. You have to have land. And I know people are going to say, well, you can go and fill out an application and you can go get land and win land back because the United States government settled on this land and they didn't even have a mandate to settle on this land. So you can get the land back. The land is ours. Yeah, you can say that. You can say the land is yours and all of that type of stuff. But these people have the guns. So what you going to do? Go to court and fill out some paperwork and say that the land is mine and then you win some land back. And then, you know, they're going to send their people with their guns at you and take it back. And that's because you don't understand sovereignty. See, you want to just go and get the money and get the land. You want to get the things so you can be free again, but you don't want to do the work and do the research and do what it takes to get there. See, it takes something. It takes you effort to get there. If you want to live a sovereign lifestyle, there's certain things that you have to do, certain work that you got to put in. And one of them is learning how to live on your own. And a lot of people might be watching this video and you might be thinking like, man, you're just up here talking crap. But let me tell you something. I know how to live on my own. I know how to live on my own. I know how to live self-sustainingly. I was a teenager living on my own. You're talking to a person that has only had a handful of jobs, literally a handful of jobs. I haven't had a lot of jobs. You know what I'm saying? I haven't had a lot of people taking care of me. I've always embraced the concept of the person that feeds themselves is the person that's going to make the most money. The person that goes out and takes care of themselves and is independent. That's going to be the person that makes the most money. So you start talking about sovereignty, if you don't have those type of attributes about yourself, you can't be sovereign. I mean, you have to have discipline and know how to make it. I mean, a lot of people, they say they know so much about sovereignty, but these same people work jobs for corporations. You calling yourself a sovereign and you're working for another person? Like, you're just not a sovereign. I'm sorry. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have certain rights up under the Constitution and things like that, but you are not a sovereign because you need a government. You don't even know if you're a sovereign. You don't even you can't even point out your flag. Where's your flag if you're a sovereign? And don't point out that flag, because that's not the original flag. That flag with those stripes on it and 50 stars, and say that that's your flag, because that's not. And if you go to the UN and they ask you where's your flag, because you go to the UN saying that you're a sovereign and you proclaim the fact that you're a sovereign, they're gonna ask you to point out your flag. And if you point out that flag with them stripes on it, you ain't gonna get nothing. So I'm just saying all this to say I'm not really trying to put people down or anything like that, but people need to study. People need to study, because like, being a sovereign, you can't just go get a lawyer and hire a lawyer and go to court because you're saying you're a sovereign or whatever and think that you're going to win this court case because you got a lawyer. Because the lawyer took an oath to the Bar Association, and their goal is to make you into a ward. So a ward and a sovereign can't exist in the same state. You can't be a ward and a sovereign at the same time. A ward is a minor. You know what ward means? A ward, W-A-R-D. A ward means someone that's ignorant, a fool, someone not of sound mind and body, an adolescent. So when you hire a lawyer, you call yourself a minor, a ward of the state, which means you're a minor. You are not of sound mind and body. So these are things that people need to really understand before they start talking about sovereignty. Like, it's not a quick fix. It's something that you must stand on your square and do for yourself. When the police come knocking at your door, you got to stand on your square. And nobody gonna do that for you. You have to stand on your square or whatever. When the IRS come knocking at your door and those other alphabet boys, the CIA and the FBI come knocking at your door, you can't just call a lawyer and get out of jail and call yourself a sovereignty, or call some Moor up in a temple and say, well, the Moor's going to get me out. You got to get yourself out, because even in court, you used to have to stand on your own square. So you can have somebody represent you in court, but then you have to waive your rights. When somebody represents you in court, you waiving all your rights. So that's the whole thing that protects your sovereignty, is your rights. So you cannot, that's another rule, you cannot be a sovereign and not know how to stand on your own square and defend yourself on your square, because you will be tested. You will be tested. That's the whole part of it. It's the whole part of being a sovereign. They're going to test you. So it's just a lot. I just want to do this brief video. I could say a lot more about sovereignty, but if you don't really understand business, you're not going to understand sovereignty. If you don't understand terms and words, you need to get you a Black's Law Dictionary. You're not going to understand sovereignty. You need to know what a corporation is. Like, you need to realize that you are a corporation. Like, your driver's license, the name that's on your driver's license makes you into a corporation. And until you realize that and stop identifying with that, you are not a sovereign. Because a lot of people, they still identify emotionally with their paperwork. And what I mean by that is that they don't look at their paperwork as like you're a registered, you're a power of attorney over your estate, which is your driver's license, all your paperwork. They don't look at you. You look at it like this is you, and it's not you, because it's in all capital letters. So the name that's on your paperwork is not you, and that's the problem that a lot of people have, is that they are emotionally attached to the matrix too, and to the paperwork that we get, and they don't realize that you have to really free your mind in order to be sovereign. You have to totally detach from the way that you look at things, the way they taught you to look at things in school, because the way they taught you to look at things in school, they brainwashed you into the system. That's why it works. They brainwashed you into this fictitious monopoly system. This whole matrix is based off monopoly. So I'm telling you, it's a game. The money's not backed by nothing. I mean, it's a game. It's literally a game. And like I said, the only real businesses are the insurance companies, the banks, and government. And anybody else that comes up in business, and any other business that comes up, they're only going to come up with the blessings of those three. They have to have the blessings of those three: government, insurance companies, and banks. You need a loan. You definitely need to mess with the government so you can get your business incorporated, whatever you do. And you need insurance to protect your assets. So every business is up under those businesses, and that's why no matter what business you have, the banks, the insurance companies, and government will always rule over them, because that's the only real business. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down the way I opened it up. If you want to understand sovereignty, you got to understand business. Got to understand business. You need to understand business in and out. You need to understand real business. You need to understand real commerce. You need to understand what is commerce. See, people don't even know what commercial is. You start talking about commercial versus private. You need to know the difference between something commercial and something private. You need to know the difference between being a resident and being a citizen. You need to know the difference between a lot of things. So you need a Black's Law Dictionary to understand sovereignty. You need to be a student. That's the number one thing that I'm pointing out here in this video, is that you must be a student. You can't go pay people. You can't pay your way out into freedom and go pay lawyers or go pay people to do stuff for you. You can go pay for information as far as like a consultation to learn things about the law. But I'm saying you can't pay a lawyer and be like, I want to be sovereign, and I'm just going to give my money to some law firm, some indigenous law firm or some sovereign law firm, and they're going to do all the work for me. Or I'm going to just give my money to Ram Hotep. Or I'm going to give my money to Hootie or somebody, and he's going to do all the work for me. So you go to these people in the community, you're going to give your money to Phil Valentine or somebody, and they're going to do all the work for you. It doesn't work like that, people. You have to be able to stand on your own square. If you're saying that you're a sovereign, that's the bottom line, is you're independent. When you say that, that's what you're saying. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down. I thank you guys for listening and watching. I'll leave you on this last point I want to make. Last point is that being a sovereign and calling yourself a sovereign is not the end all be all. What I mean by this is that there are other people that are free and have freed themselves from the matrix. They're free now, but they're not sovereign. They're not calling themselves sovereign. So I'm saying that to say, learn terms and words and learn the original term. It's not sovereign. That's not even the original term, and they know that. The lawyers know that. So you go to court saying, I'm a sovereign, you get yourself into a world full of trouble, because they know that they're going to come at you from a certain angle. Like, okay, you're a sovereign. They're going to start questioning you based on what you call yourself, because that's how they do it in court, how you represent yourself, what your paperwork says. So you don't know. See, people don't know this stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't really know what you're doing. You're hearing somebody telling you you're sovereign. You read a few books and you just go with it. But you need to do independent research. Read various different authors that did stuff on sovereignty. Like, I have something on my website, and it's not about sovereignty, and I don't even agree with everything that's on my website. But I have some research material, you know what I'm saying, on my website that goes into a little bit of this information or whatever. And it's just research, though. It's just research or whatever. So, it's located on the products part of my website or whatever. You can click on the link below to find out more information about that. But I have research that helps to free you. You know what I'm saying? It teaches you basics on how to become free, terms and words, but you're going to get free from here. Like, if you remember when Morpheus taught Neo, he told him to free your mind. And what that means is that when you learn the game and learn the system, that's what frees you. Not you paying somebody and giving somebody some money. That's not going to free you. You knowing it and then standing on it and demonstrating it correctly is what frees you. Two parts to it. Knowing it, you got to know it, firmly know it. Know it almost by memory, so that you can demonstrate your situation. And then two, being able to demonstrate, which is you standing on your square. You have to be able to stand on your square and demonstrate the information in court, in public. You have to proclaim it. So that's going to do it for me. I thank you for listening, watching, and until we meet again, I'll leave you all in peace.